And we are live. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Thomas. We've got my main man, Cliff, with me.
Hey, everybody.
And we got Renee King-Sonnen in the house tonight. I'm so excited. I just want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks, Renee, for giving up your time. We're so grateful. You know, you're a very busy lady. So we'll not keep you, and we'll just get into it. I'll read a bit about Renee's story.
I'm happy to be here, so you guys just relax. I'm all here.
All the way from Texas.
Love it. So I'll just get people up to speed with a short bio, and then we'll take it from there. Renee, a native Houstonian, is the president and founder of Rowdy Sanctuary in Waelder, Texas. She remarried her husband, Tommy Sonnen, a multi-generational cattle rancher, in 2009 and moved to their former ranch in Angleton, Texas. She fell in love with farm animals, having no idea her life was about to transform. After witnessing time and again the baby calves going to the sale barn, she became extremely depressed. In October 2014, she went vegan as a result and began researching factory farming and the compassionate alternative farm sanctuaries. She desperately consulted with leaders in the vegan movement, determined to do whatever she could to create sanctuary out of what was once a beef cattle operation in the heart of cattle country. As a result, the Rancher Advocacy Program was developed to give cattle ranchers and other animal farmers a way to transition into other ways of farming without animal cruelty. Transitioning out of animal agriculture requires a lot of skill, effort, and people to help. RIP is dedicated to finding the resources and the way to give farmers a way around farming. Renee speaks to farmers all the time and she's converted a few to vegan, like 6th generation Texas cattle ranchers Cindy and Richard Trailer. And a side note about Renee King-Sonnen, aka Sangeeta, I'm hoping I'm getting this right. She has studied yoga sciences and Ayurveda for 35 years. She's a teacher of Hatha Yoga and Kundalini Yoga, and she has a dedicated yoga practice and meditates every day. And I'm just going to say namaste and not try and pronounce the name of your guru. So thank you so much. Wow.
These bios are getting more immense every single week. Such
Heavy
a
on the
pleasure.
tongue.
Renee, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. It's absolutely amazing to have you joining us. I just want to say before we start, I became aware of your story from it's a film that people can watch live or on YouTube, free to watch, Vegan Everyday Stories. I think you and Tommy are the first people on there, and this story is just incredible, and we want you to tell people about that tonight. I'm not too sure that people in Ireland are overly aware of the film, so we want you to share your story tonight, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. So we'll get into the questions. So the first question is, tell us a little bit about your formative years and how, looking back, you can see that earlier experiences in your life were putting you on your path.
Well, I'm 63 years old. You're young, and what I know is that in my 63 years, I've always been a free spirit. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had my own businesses, and I was a promoter. I was a musician. I always loved making special events, producing events. And I just always had a knack for all of that. I was a singer and I had my own band for many years. So, I kind of grew up in that vein of just being, like the one woman show almost, And so my background in yoga, though, when I became a yoga teacher, it wasn't because I wanted to promote yoga, really. It was because I was doing it for my own self. I had a really bad car wreck years ago that really caused me lots of issues. Still is. In fact, I have a surgery May 11th because of it.
Wow.
And but it's going to be all right. But anyway, what happened is that whole experience of my past as an entrepreneur, as a musician, as a producer, as a promoter. I used to sell real estate. I've had my own businesses, many of them. that all kind of lined up when I started doing yoga, to want to make sure I'm aligning with my heart.
Wow.
That whatever I do in my life, I wanted it to align with my heart. However, I never knew in a million years that it was going to be a sanctuary. And so that's what kind of set me up, all that set me up to when this moment happened. It was like all the pieces kind of just fell into place.
Wow. Amazing. Just when you're talking about singing, for anybody who doesn't know, this is Renee back in her singing days.
God.
Yeah, we found this online. How long ago was that, Renee?
That was in the 80s. That was probably 88 or 89. Hey, I was. Huh?
I say, get me a time machine. I would have spoke to you at the bar that night.
I was something else, let me tell you. My husband will tell you. He met me when I was singing in the bars.
Wow.
Amazing. Such a amazing story.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Always been at the center of everything then, always having some big project to tackle and having your hands full getting to work on things. It's great.
Yeah. It's always been the driving force, for sure.
Wow.
Amazing, lady. Do you want to go with that?
Yeah. I mean, I know we've seen your story and it's been documented. For people maybe not too familiar, from someone that's been so hands-on, how did it come about then that you were with someone who was a cattle farmer and, the spark or whatever it was happened and took you from A to B in terms of I can no longer do things, have once went along with him, and now that I know I must make a big change.
Yeah, well, I married Tommy for the second time. Me and Tommy were married the first time, and I'm in recovery. I've been in recovery for many years, and so I was in the middle of one of my relapses years ago, and when we were married the first time, and our marriage just couldn't take it, and so we ended up divorcing. But we always loved each other, and so. Anyway, what happened is I started we started seeing each other again, and we married for the second time in March of 2010. And I moved in March of 2009, and he didn't have the cattle ranch when we were married the first time. So he had bought this cattle ranch, kind of picking up where he had left off, he just picked up his heritage, decided to do what his ancestors had always done. And, I wasn't really into it. I was like into my yoga, my meditation, my singing, the stuff I do with the music. And, you do the cow thing, I'll do my thing. And, that's the way it was going to be. But what happened is he wanted me to get more involved in the cattle ranching. Okay. And the way he did that was through a little calf named Rowdy Girl. And, what happened is there was 2 little babies that were supposedly abandoned by their mother. I don't know what happened for real. I wonder now really what happened to Rowdy Girl's mom. But I bought these two calves for $300 a piece. Back then.
You bought the calves from Tommy?
No, from this farmer, from this rancher. From this rancher up the road. Tommy was wanting me to get more involved in the cattle.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And these 2 calves didn't have a mama. They needed bottle feeding. And so Tommy appealed to my heartstrings. And so I met these 2 calves and I fell in love. And I thought, oh, they're so cute. And they need a mama and I don't have any kids. And so that's how... That's how I started waking up, was when I started feeding these calves. And Bobo died very young, but Rowdy Girl was an amazing, healthy animal. She thrived. She bounced, to me twice a day, wanting her bottle. And as a result, she started showing me the relationships that the cows had. And I don't know how to explain it, except I started seeing, I started hearing, I started feeling things that I'd never felt, heard, or seen before. When I was bottle feeding Rowdy Girl, she was feeding me a lifeline to my soul. It was truly an evolution of my heart. Being with Rowdy Girl changed me from the inside out. I wish I could tell you I went vegan. I wish I could tell you I went vegan on the spot, but I didn't, because I didn't know what I thought. Sometimes I thought I was going crazy. I was like, what the heck? I started naming the cows, and it wasn't that I was actually naming them. They were telling me their names. And so since they were telling me their names, I would tell Tommy, I was like, there's Tippy, he's the babysitter, and there's little there's little Dumpling. There's, I started naming all the cows, and he would say, Renee, you got to stop naming them cows. And I was like, well, but they're telling me their names. How can I help that? If they have a name, they're going to tell me their name. And so he didn't like it. And one thing led to the other, and I ended up, going vegan as a result of a little baby calf with a white heart on her head named Rowdy Girl. That's what started me on the road to going vegan. It's not when I went vegan. It's what started me on my path, Yeah.
It's a journey for most of us, and there's pieces of your life where you get a little piece of information, and then you join some more dots, and then finally you get it and you think, okay, now I'm going to go vegan. But it's amazing to hear that. What I'm hearing from you is that you realized the animals were individuals. They weren't commodities or a product, each and every one of them. That's why you were giving them names. So it's just an amazing story.
Yeah. Why they were giving you their names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they were. It's that simple.
That kind of leads us into our next question. So you find yourself now married to a multi-generational cattle rancher in the heart of Texas. And now you're going to tell him that you want to turn the ranch into a sanctuary. So what did you say to Tommy, and what was his reaction at the time?
Well, I have to back up and I have to explain what happened before I tell you that, because it won't make any sense. But Tommy and I, started fighting a lot. When I started transitioning, and I didn't even know I was transitioning. I was starting to have real bad depression because of the way I was feeling about the cows going to slaughter. I started getting really depressed, and this happened over a period of years. And after a period of years, about 5 years, in the 5th year, I started really watching a lot of slaughterhouse videos because I was trying to figure out how to humanely do what I was doing. I was trying to be, that cattle rancher that was doing everything as humane, as ethical as possible when you kill the animal. I know now that there's no way to do that, but I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
See, and so because I didn't know that then, I was buying humane milk, I was buying humane cheese, I was buying humane this and that. We got our own chickens, we were eating our own eggs. Yeah. Everything was humane until I started stumbling on vegan propaganda. I mean, because in my research, that's what it looked like to me as a cattle rancher. I was like, look at all this vegan propaganda, people not wanting you to eat animals, And so I was just trying to do it humanely, And so I went to my husband and I said, so how come we don't eat our own animals? I started asking my husband, why don't we eat our own animals? He said, Renee, don't ask me that. I said, well, I want to know. We eat animals. We buy our meat from the store. Why don't we eat them here? He said, because I can't eat animals I know. And when he said that to me, hi, Paul. When he said that to me, I was shocked. In my mind, I was thinking, we can eat animals we don't know from the grocery store, but we can't eat the ones we do know because guess what? They have a name. And so what happened is I started literally losing my mind because I kept trying every which way in the world to figure out how to do the wrong thing the right way. And there just was no way to do it. And so I tried everything. And then one day on October 31st, 2014, I stumbled upon a Melanie Joy video on carnism. Yeah. And that's what turned me vegan. What happened is there was a combination of things that led up. That's why I had to back up a minute, because otherwise it would make no sense. There was a combination of things. When I watched Melanie Joy's video on October 31st, 2014, I was not vegan. I didn't even know I was going vegan. But Melanie Joy spoke, in this family, they're going to have beef stew. Somebody wanted the recipe, and they said you start off with a pound of very young golden retriever.
Yes,
I remember that.
I was like, what? And I didn't go vegan right then, but I was in a trance because I remember thinking to myself, ooh, I could be eating chopped up bodies of a dog or my grandma's rear end. Who knows? Who knows what's in that bowl, you know?
Yeah.
I'm serious.
New terminology for your mind.
I started seeing this thing, and so I went to my mother-in-law's house that night because they were having a Halloween party for the kids.
Okay.
And she was serving beef stew.
The irony.
Dun dun dun.
I had dun 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 dun. I mean, I was like, my ears started ringing, there's all the kids running around in their costumes. All the adults are talking, chitter chattering. And all of a sudden I'm just like, I can't eat that, and my mother-in-law's like, why, Renee? I said, because it's got floating dead, hacked up animal bodies in it. And everybody in the room stopped talking, even the kids. They looked at me like, what did you say? And I was like, it's got floating, dead, hacked up animal bodies in it. And I said it in extreme silence with everybody looking at me. And they were like, oh my God, as if I had cussed them out. And my mother-in-law said, well, Renee, you can pick it out, honey. I said, no, ma'am. There's no more picking it out for me. That's the moment I went vegan. Right on the spot. I mean, it was as if I went from door number 2, I say it all the time, to door number 3. I slammed the door. And I only open that door to door number 2 when I'm trying to help somebody, because I don't ever want to live in a construct where my belief systems are tied to violence. And see, what I know now is that I was living in a belief system of normalized violence. That's how come I could eat, I was trying to figure out how to humanely do the wrong thing because I was living in that construct. But when you're living in door number 3, that doesn't work. And so, when I had a showdown with my husband, it was after all that happened. We started fighting. We were like, I was like, get this stuff out of this house. You are not going to eat meat in my house anymore. Forget it. It's over. You do not bring animal products in this house. It ain't going to happen. He was like, what? He was like, well, I live here too. I said, well, guess what? You may live here, but you will not eat animal products in this house or they're going to be thrown out the door. No. And I started challenging everything my husband stood for. Not only his business, but the tradition and the culture of cattle ranching. See, that's why I had to stop, because see, what you got to understand is for me to just say, oh, this is what I did, it's too trite. I mean, I not only went up against my husband. Yeah, I not only went up against my husband, I went up against the culture in Texas of cattle ranching. And I didn't know I was doing that. I really didn't. I didn't even think about it. Yeah. All I know is that I could not let my husband send those cows to the sale barn. And the day that I told him that, it was probably in December of 2014. I had been vegan a couple of months, and I said to Tommy, because, well, number one, we were just going to get a divorce. It was obvious. The handwriting was on the wall. And we'd already been divorced once, and me going vegan was threatening my marriage. And so, yeah. And so I said to him, well, actually, he said to me, he said, Renee, I'm just going to get out of the business. This ain't working. I'm just going to get out of the business. I'm going to sell all the cows. I'm going to sell the whole herd. What we used to do is just sell the babies. We used to just sell the 6-month-old babies whenever they was time to sell them, and we kept the cows, and they just kept breeding. It was called the cow-calf operation, but he was ready to just sell out. And that's when I told him. I went out to the pasture. He was doing what he was going to do to load them up, get them out. And I said, Tommy, you take that trailer up to the cell barn. This is up. This is what's going to happen if you do that. Now, granted, a lot of fighting went on. Before that, not fist fighting, but just like, balls to the wall fighting, man. I said, you take that trailer up to the road one more time, I will follow you. I will buy them all back with your credit card, and I'm going to bring them back home. And I will make you the laughing stock of this county. I am serious. What happened is I chose the lives of all those cows over the marriage of my husband, not because I didn't love my husband, but because if I would have let these cows go to slaughter, I probably would have either went insane, started drinking again, or committed suicide. I'm serious. I was at that place, and so I was willing to just put it all on the line, and that's what I did. And Tommy said, Renee, you better not get in my business. I said, well, you just try me, because I will. And so he didn't. And
Renee, I just want to say at this point, what you've done is unbelievable. You're an amazing, amazing lady, and what you've done for those animals is just incredible. And to put your marriage on the line and make such a stand in Texas, of all places, is just like, what do you say?
I feel like someone should write a country song for you, like The Wild Woman of Waelder, Texas, or something. It needs a ballad. But I absolutely love hearing people's stories of
it's amazing
when they flip the script socially, and it's always the way, isn't it? Like, it's funny now, but back then it was really crazy. It was serious. It was the furthest thing from funny, but it just shows you, like, I respect people so much who just go against the grain, and regardless of whether it's popular or easy, people still follow their heart and do the right thing. And look at the bounty that the universe has bestowed upon you for your sacrifice and your courage. You know what I mean? It's beautiful.
Amazing.
Had no idea. Had no idea that would happen. Really.
Yeah.
None.
The point then from the arguments, and making what was essentially like a dream that was driving you crazy into a reality. Did you there was a part in your bio where we're talking about reaching out to the vegan community, and talking to people sort of in that realm about how to go about really making it a permanent thing. Then how did all that come about, the help and the staircase appearing?
That's actually exactly what happened next. Is well, right before I gave Tommy an ultimatum, I had started a Facebook page called Vegan Journal of a Rancher's Wife. That Facebook page is still in existence. If you go all the way to the bottom, you will see the whole beginnings of Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. That's where it started. I started pouring out. Oh, you love my mug? I love this too.
It's so hardcore.
I didn't even notice.
Thank you for noticing. But I started pouring out my heart on the Vegan Journal of a Rancher's Wife, and what happened was vegans started following me from all over the world, because I didn't know I was starting a sanctuary. That's not what I was doing at the time. What I was doing was when I first started talking on the Vegan Journal, I was just like, what am I going to do? My husband's going to sell the cows. And I had this friend, her name was Jeannie, And thank you, Katie. Jeannie Westfall in Oregon. And Jeannie, she was my very first vegan friend. And when I went vegan and I knew my husband was going to start selling the cows, I knew that there was vegans out there in the world, but I didn't know any. So I got on the vegan registry and I started looking up vegans, and it was like 2 a.m. and Jeannie Westfall in Oregon, bless her heart, reached out to me. She'd been vegan like 17 years and she became my vegan godmother. And we talked on the phone and she told me, and I cried and she cried and she said, "Oh my God, Renee, you gotta get help. You need to write about this." I said, "Where?" And she said, "You need to start a blog." I said, "How?" And she said, "Start a Facebook page." So that's what I did. I started the Vegan Journal of a Rancher's Wife, and I just started crying on it, and next thing you know, hundreds of people from all over the world are following. I mean, hundreds. I mean, and then it became thousands. And then I was like, oh my God. And so that's how I found Robert Bello. He's in Florida, and he's an attorney, and he wanted to help me. That's how I met Kip Anderson. That's how I met a lot of people, was through just my heart pouring out to the world. And I raised the money. That's when I decided, I was going to raise the money, And so I met Kip Anderson. I met Howard Lyman during all that time. Gene Bauer from Farm Sanctuary. I just started reaching out to any and everybody I could in the vegan movement. It started out on the blog, and it expanded when people said, "Renee, you need to call Howard Lyman. Renee, you need to call Kip Anderson." I didn't know who these people were. I had no idea they were famous. I didn't care that they were famous. I just wanted to save the cows. And so I remember when Howard Lyman told me, "Do you know who he is?"
I recognize the name. Is he an actor?
No, I'm not sure.
No.
Howard Lyman.
Howard. You must look up Howard Lyman.
Kip Anderson.
Howard.
Cowspiracy.
But Howard Lyman is even blows Kip out of the water. I love Kip. Don't get me wrong. But I don't mean that he blows him out of the water, because look, God, Kip is freaking awesome. But Howard Lyman is the only person I knew that had a factory farm, and he went vegan.
Wow.
Now he's older. Yeah. He was in Kip's first documentary. He was Kip consulted with Howard Lyman. Howard Lyman was on Oprah Winfrey whenever they were talking about the mad cow disease. And anyway, Howard Lyman, and Oprah, they worked together and stuff. And now Howard Lyman, he's got a book out called The Mad Cowboy. And Howard Lyman has been a tremendous advocate for animals. He didn't turn his place into a sanctuary. He sold out. But a man that had a factory farm went vegan.
Yeah, it just shows you.
That's unbelievable.
It's crazy. Yeah.
What's happening?
And he was the only person. He was the only person in the world that I knew of that I could talk to about this. So anyway, needless to say, he's an icon. He's very famous, but
check him out.
He's not going to come on probably and do an interview. He just doesn't do them anymore.
No. But I mean, I'll check out the story and stuff.
We're not good enough.
No, he's not that at all. Hey, he's not that at all. He's just done it already. He's and he's a wonderful person. He will talk to me anytime I want to on my phone. Nice. He's a wonderful person. But he's the one that said to me, Renee, because I was calling my husband a murderer. I was every day. I was living with the cows outside during the day. I had become a nomad, really. Basically, I was living with the cows. I couldn't stand being in my house because there was deer horns everywhere, and my husband and I were fighting all the time. So Howard Lyman is the one that kind of talked me down and said, "Renee, you need to treat your husband like you're treating them cows. He's an animal too, and he's hurting. He's hurting." And Howard Lyman is the one that really.
Did you end up buying the entire herd from your husband then, Renee? Yeah, was that how the sanctuary started?
I did a fundraiser. See, Howard Lyman said, "Renee, if you're going to start a sanctuary," because I was thinking, I was thinking, this is what I said. I said, well, I'm thinking, like as if it's just normal. I'm thinking I might turn this place into a sanctuary. And Howard Lyman was like, well, I'd be careful before you do that. You probably better, go visit a few sanctuaries before you make a decision to do that. And that's how I learned about farm sanctuary. And I said, Howard, Mr. Lyman, I can't do that. If I leave, my husband will kill the cows. If I leave here and go check out other sanctuaries, I won't have any cows when I get back. And so I had to figure this out without doing any of my own footwork. I had to just make a lot of calls. And so he said, well, I'm going to tell you, it's hard to open up a sanctuary in and of itself. You're in the state of Texas, former cattle ranch. Oh, that wasn't even a former cattle ranch. It was a cattle ranch at that time. And so anyway, that's when my friend Robert Bello and Kip Anderson said, Renee, I did Indiegogo when I raised the money for Cowspiracy. Why don't you do an Indiegogo campaign and see if you can buy your husband's cows? And so I went to Tommy and I said, hey, Tommy, why don't you let me... Yeah. And, I'm a businesswoman, right? So now I'm like, hey, Tommy, why don't you let me buy your cows? He was like, what? And I said, well, if you're going to sell them, you're going to sell all the cows, why don't you just sell them to me? I'm your wife. He says, well, what are you going to do with them? I said, well, and he didn't know about the journal. He had no idea I had a secret journal. This was a secret. Here I am. I'm a keyboard warrior at night talking to all my vegan friends trying to figure out how to keep these cows. And so I told Tommy, I said, well, I'm talking to some people and, they said I could maybe start a campaign and buy the cows and start a sanctuary right here in Texas. He said, you have lost your mind, girl. It's a sanctuary in Texas.
Heard him say that.
And I said, well, maybe so. Yeah, you're right. I have lost my mind. And I said, it's a pretty good place to be right now. I love where I'm at right now. I said, but, what if I could buy them? Would you let me? He said, sure, Renee. And he said it like, yeah, you ain't going to buy my cows. I said, so if I could, I said, if I could raise the money, how much would you let me buy them for? And he said, well, all right, I'll play. I could go to the sale barn and probably get about, 30,000, 40,000, 35 or 40,000. I'll give them to you for 30.
Holy shit.
I said, 30,000. Okay, you got a deal. And I said, if I raise the money, you're going to let me lease this land for $1 a year so I can keep this place and have these cows.
Wow.
He said, sure, Renee, whatever. He didn't believe I knew it.
I'd love to see this face.
There's some genius to be got from this and making deals.
Nobody else had done anything like this in the whole wide world. I mean, I didn't even know that at the time. All I knew is I didn't know that at the time. All I knew was I was not going to let those cows go to slaughter on my watch. I couldn't. I would just sink. I would die. And so I went back to my group and I told them I had a deal. And next thing you know, Robert is helping me create a campaign. And we did it. And in less than 4 months, I bought his cows. I raised $36,000. And every minute along the way, Tommy changed. It was as if
amazing.
It was as if the momentum of this happening started making him see, that maybe this was possible. And, he always believed in me and what I could do, I mean, if I believe in something, look out, because I'm going to, if I believe in something. And so I was as in the middle of this as anything I'd ever been in my life.
Wow.
And I had no idea what I was doing, but Rowdy Girl did. See, Rowdy Girl, I really do believe, channeled.
Wow, she was leading you.
I really do believe every step of the way. Of course. How else could it be any other way?
Makes sense.
I didn't know
for Tommy's part too, I mean, I've seen some videos and stuff with him, and I think a lot of vegans hate on farmers or ranchers, as you call them. But he's quite obviously a very good man with a very good heart. You can tell, like, straight away.
The love is real.
You know, that's a message we can take away from this. The farmers are not bad people. They've just got the tradition, and it's been handed down to them, and it's just what they know.
Great
point. But
yeah.
it's amazing what you've brought out in him as well. It's just incredible. Like, I'm blown away listening to it.
Tommy is like, I always like to say Tommy's like a vegan John Wayne. You know, he's got that character. He's got that character about him. Yes. And you know, Tommy and all cattle ranchers out there that have small farms like we did, they all love their animals. They love the land. They want it, but you know, and they love their families. They really value tradition, and they value passing this land and this heritage down to their families. And so, you know, when you're in door number 2, that's all you know. So that's the reason I started the Rancher Advocacy Program, because when I went vegan as a cattle rancher, and then Tommy went vegan, our story started multiplying. I mean, I had no idea that people were going to do documentaries, and that CBS Evening News and would come out, you know, and it would be on the nightly news, you know, across the freaking country. You know,
well, it's not every day a farm in Texas, a cattle farm in Texas, turns into a vegan sanctuary. So I can understand why it's happening.
Absolutely.
But see, I never ever thought that it never. But see, what happened as a result of that, it just turned into this thing, and cattle ranchers and their families started contacting me privately.
Wow.
So the Rancher Advocacy Program you mentioned there, we were going to ask you about this anyway. Can you tell us how that works and if you've had any success with it?
Sure. Well, what happened is whenever our story went viral, and it didn't just go viral once, it just kept going viral. Every time you turn around, there was something else. And, you know, and our website blowing up and emails. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, you know. And, you know, and with that came a lot of responsibility, because, you know, no matter what, my main mission was to these animals and making sure their voice was heard. And when cattle ranchers started reaching out to me, and their families, I was like, wow, you know, because they didn't want anybody to know that they were calling me. It was very, very anonymous. When people would call and say stuff like, I'm calling for my friend up the road. She's got a little, you know, a couple of heifers that are going to be sold, and she's gotten attached to them. I said, would that somebody be you?
Straight to the point.
And she was like, and this is the kind of stuff. And she was like, she started crying. I mean, busting. I'm not supposed to be talking about this. My husband would kill me. Blah, blah, blah. Of course. It's like so taboo. You don't talk about your feelings for animals that you're going to send to slaughter.
Yeah, not in that culture.
You know, you can't. You know, but you can still you care about them. It's just like an FFA and 4-H. All these kids that raise these animals and future farmers of America in 4-H.
Okay.
You know, they grow up, they are taught to raise these animals and care for them, you know, groom them, and then they show them, and they get money, and then they sell them for slaughter. But so many of them can't do it. And they end up
publish that.
They end up coming to us. So many of them come to us and other sanctuaries around the globe, you know? And so I have so many animals like that here. And so cattle ranchers and their family. Total animals, 110.
Wow. That is
we have
crazy.
63. We have 63 cows.
I've got some pictures here. You keep talking. I'm going to show some pictures of it.
Yeah, no worries. That's what we were going to say about next anyway. Like, what are the difficulties of running a sanctuary? It must be something different every day, whether it's someone on the phone, someone new coming along, someone passing away. Oh, just looking at these photos. But yeah, tell us a bit about a day in the life on the ranch with the residents. Looks lovely.
I just love them. I love them, everyone. Every single animal at Rowdy Girl Sanctuary has a name, a medical file, and an adorable personality. Or some of them don't have an adorable personality. Some of them don't want you to be. They're like, some of them are, but we respect them. Whatever their personality is, we respect that, But a day in the life. Yeah, a day in the life. I'm looking out my window right now and I'm watching the cows walk by.
Oh.
I can walk down my country road, and when I'm walking from my office here at the house to the farmhouse where the main office is, I walk down there 2 or 3 times a day, and I stop by and talk to the cows or the donkeys or the horses right there. And
so dreamy.
I just look at them and I talk to them, and then I come on in. I come on to the back door. Well, Tommy calls it the front door. I call it the back door of the farmhouse. We always disagree on something. But
that's why I laughed. It's such fun.
Yeah, it's my back door. It's his front door. But anyway, and then there's the chicken, the special needs chickens area. We have a little girl. Her name is Lonely Girl, and she's had a brain surgery. A little chicken that's had brain surgery. It's blind, and she's there. A chicken named Amethyst that was rescued out of Colorado from a slaughterhouse that went belly up, and we ended up getting about 15 chickens. They're called broiler chickens, Cornish crosses, and they traveled all the way from Colorado.
We were actually with some Cornish crosses on
that's right,
on Wednesday.
Saturday,
some broilers.
Wednesday,
spent some time with them, and they're so funny and like all the individual personalities, and some are friendly and some are pecking at you and some are just standing in the background. They
don't typically live long. They're bred to get really big really fast. And so we have some here that are 2 years old, and Amethyst is one of those. She's 2 years and 3 months. And
that's really good for broiler chickens, isn't it, that have been rescued typically?
What's that?
Typically, that's a good length of life that they would get, being bred to be slaughtered at 6 weeks if they're living beyond 2.
Yeah, and we have roosters we've rescued from cockfighting rings. Yeah. Well, and that's terrible, And we have goats we've rescued right out of slaughterhouses. We have cows that we've rescued out of slaughterhouses. Cattle ranchers bring their animals here. We recently had a surrendered calf named Buster that came.
I've been following Buster.
I've been following that too, because my companion dog is called Buster as well. So when that came up, I was like, yeah. So I've been following that story. It's absolutely.
And
beautiful.
So he got castrated yesterday. And that's the thing. You have to fix them, because if you don't, then you can't let them out with the rest of the herd, and because I can't be breeding over here. Yeah. And so, I hate doing that. I hate having to castrate the baby calves if we get them, but that's part of what you got to do. You just can't be breeding. Otherwise,
you have to be responsible. It's like if people have cats and stuff. I mean, you can't just let them go breeding more. That's absolutely pointless.
Creates more problems.
So, Renee, can I ask you, just so our viewers know, how do you raise money for the sanctuary? And can you tell us about how you become a Rowdy Girl member and what that entails?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you for asking. The website is rowdygirlsanctuary.org. And if you want to be a member, you just go rowdygirlsanctuary.org/membership. But what happens when you become a member? See, we have about 315 members. Wow. And my goal is to have 400 members by the end of this year, because our members are not only the lifeblood of our organization, but they kind of like become part of my own herd too. I I have them on my phone. I have all my members on my phone. You know, we really take good care of our members. We, you know, some of them want like T-shirts and stuff like that. We do get T-shirts and stuff sponsored. Sometimes we have to pay a little bit for them, but we want to help our membership grow by, you know, offering them, you know, like tours. After a while, they get to have their own private tour. They get to, you can become a member by adopting an animal. A lot of people sponsor our animals, and then they'll get an adoption certificate in the mail and stuff like that.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah, so we'd recommend everybody go and do that and donate to the sanctuary. I mean, this story's amazing. So hopefully
everyone needs to see that documentary as well.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Vegan Everyday Stories is on Amazon Prime, I think. And
YouTube. It's free to watch.
It's definitely on YouTube. Yeah, I was watching it earlier.
And YouTube. And there's another documentary being done on my life right now. Nice. They've been following me around for about 1.5 years, me and Tommy. And so that one is in the works. And then there's another one, 2 is going to be a documentary series they're trying to pitch, another company.
Wow.
And so, yes. And this is going to be all
really
about
exciting.
cattle. It's going to be about converting farms and stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool. And then I'm writing a book.
Wow.
And so,
busy lady.
Do you want to go with that one there?
Always up to something. Yeah. Okay. This one's cool. We wanted to talk to you about the country and western days and singing and how that's like such a different universe to where you are now. And maybe looking back now, if you think there's any times there that sort of maybe prepared you for what you're doing now or something like that. You got any you got a photo album there, have you? Oh, here we go. Wow. Wow, that's live on the stage there.
I think we have a link to some of your music because you sent it.
Well, look at the hair. Look at the hair.
That's 80s hair. That's the 80s look.
That's huge.
Permed hair.
Yeah, so
amazing.
So, you know, it's like I did that for years, you know, that prepared me to be able to be a voice. See, I am very talented as a vocalist. I can sing anything. And I'm also very skilled. I'm very skilled as an entertainer. I love making
deadly
people
combination.
Yes, I love making people happy and
we can see that.
know,
I can imagine you doing comedy stand-up as well, Renee. You're such a brilliant personality.
People have told me that before about comedy and stuff, and I'm like, man, I cannot. If I make you laugh, it is not on purpose. It is just who I am. So it isn't on purpose. Yeah, but you know, that prepared me. That life on the road was very hard. I was on the road with my own band. That's how I made my living for many years in my early days. And that was very difficult. But I loved it. I thrived on it. I was performing somewhere every single night, you know. Wow. And so that prepared me. It gave me a lot of stamina. And you know, and I have sang in front of you know, people at the old folks home, and I've sang in front of thousands and thousands of people. So, you know, none of it bothers me. I'm not scared to be in front of people. So when you're speaking for the animals, you know, people like, oh my God. I mean, I had no idea, but yeah. That's what it was all about.
You actually sent me a link to where your music is, and it's running along the bottom of the screen, reverbnation.com. And I'd recommend everybody go and check that out because I'm not a fan of country and western, but Renee, it's actually incredible.
It's good cooking music. I was listening to it when I was making a meal the other day, and I can be a testament to that. You've got an unreal voice. Really, really cool top end.
It's really good.
I can't believe you got that link up there. That was the 5 songs I produced. I produced those.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Oh my God. That was
But
fun.
It's really good. You should be proud of that, Renee. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
What time is it? We're running out of time. We've just got a couple of more questions. Do you want to ask that one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is something I want to ask everybody because I know everyone has a different path, but everyone will have some universal things that they could say to help other people. So I just wanted to ask this question for the listeners and to inspire people to think about just different routines and things. So I know we talked a little bit earlier about a day in the life on the sanctuary, but we know you have the daily meditation practice, and I'd love if you spoke about that, but in general, in your day, do you have like a set routine, certain like disciplines that you follow every single day to put you in a peak state, keep your mind right, or to prepare you for, your plans next week or whatever? Because I know people like yourself, busy people doing big things. There's lots of people that would love to hear about how to sort of get to that point maybe, or something similar, and not really think about like what it takes to mentally prepare yourself and all that, it just helps you be a better version of yourself when you do these things.
Well, thank you for asking me that. Thank you, Thomas. That is
no worries.
Honestly, that without that, I can't do any of it. So,
so important.
That is the soul of who I am. A lot of people don't know that I have a guru named Swami Satchidananda, that I spend time, like I have been on silent retreats. I've been on 2 10-day silent retreats and 1 5-day silent retreat up in Oregon, in Buckingham, Virginia. And these retreats are, essential to my sanity. Silence is where all the power really is. There is no power in what I'm thinking unless it's charged from those moments of silence that are very intentional.
Yeah. And is that Vipassana?
It's not Vipassana, although it's similar. It's Yogaville in Buckingham, Virginia, is a place, is one of Swami Satchidananda's ashrams. And it's silence as it is practiced in the ancient Hindu style. And so it's not Buddhist per se. It is, like we study the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, like yoga chitta vritti nirodha, means, when you are controlling the stuff that's in your mind, that's what yoga is. So real yoga is not about the posture. It's really, all the postures are designed, and the breathing practices are designed to quiet the mind so that you can sit and be who you really are, which is pure life force. That spark that comes from the divine.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's sort of like a little guided meditation right there.
I'm actually doing some yoga now, and I asked my yoga teacher if she wanted to ask something. So forgive my pronunciation. She wanted to know your thoughts on yoga. So this might mean something to you. Luka Samasta Sukhino Babatu, which means may all beings be happy and free. She wanted to know your take on that.
Cool.
Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.
Not too bad. It was close.
May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Victory.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Wow.
Jai Shri Sadhguru Maharaj Ki.
What a sentiment.
You're showing some talents here. Yeah, so the yoga thing ties in. The yoga thing ties in really, really neatly with being vegan. Yeah, that's basically what we're saying. With the whole ethos of both.
Yeah, there was a time in my yoga that I did not even understand. I thought I was practicing ahimsa because I was a nice person. But I didn't realize that nonviolence meant, you didn't eat animals until I went vegan and started reading up on it, that. And I was like, oh my God, ahimsa means not eating animals, or drinking milk. If you're practicing yoga and you're drinking milk and eating chicken, I didn't know that at the time, but I was in door number 2.
Yeah.
When you're in door number 2, it's a different reality. So you know how Alice in Wonderland, that you've seen that, right? You take the pills, you take the pills, and then you get little and you go into a door and woo, a different world. Well, that's that's like it is when you go vegan. It's like all of a sudden you're in a different world, and it's like, what the? Where am I? Where have I been? And I'm pissed as hell.
It's not so much a wonderland. It's like taking a bad trip.
It is. It's like, where the hell have I been? Here I am in Texas. I chant in Sanskrit. I chant in Gurmukh. It's like country and Eastern. I'm in Texas. I used to be a cattle rancher, and now I'm vegan. And now I'm like, I feel like, I've been like dropped and shipped somewhere that, God made some mistake or something. But yeah.
I think we all feel like that some days or most days.
But Renee's been like reincarnated while on the living plane multiple times. It's interesting.
I feel like we should have you back on and talk about the yoga and meditation thing. Like that's incredibly interesting.
We can definitely do that. I would love to.
Yeah.
I meditate with the cows. I go out there in the pasture. In fact, I have a picture of me, in prayer pose with one of our cows out there. We do meditation with the cows because it's awesome. So powerful.
I've never heard of that before, but that's like, my ego's really jealous and I'm aware of that.
Amazing.
But that's awesome. That's really cool.
So we're at our final question. We told you about 45 minutes and we're at an hour now. So I'm slightly aware of the time. The last question we have for you, Renee, is what's next for Renee and the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary?
Well, our board of directors is in the midst of, we're having what's called board governance, and we're reevaluating lots of things. And because our board wants to get me less involved in everything going on day to day so that I can be the founder and actually be out front a whole lot more and promote I'm writing the book. The book is called My Name is Rowdy Girl. And what that is it's a real story about the fact that I don't know where I began and where Rowdy Girl ends. We're like one, me and Rowdy Girl.
That's class.
And so the book is going to be a real classic. I'm so excited. I got a great ghostwriter. Her name is Gay Bradshaw. And so she's working with me on the book. So that's coming.
When's that due out, Renee?
I don't know.
Whenever you start writing.
The proposal's finished, and so we are right now looking at getting an agent. I've had a couple of offers from publishers, but we're just kind of like, we're just doing this thing right now where we're wanting to make sure when we do what we do next with the book, that it's the right thing because, I've been told that this book is kind of like that book, like, is it Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer or it's like one of those books where, where
a classic
slavery was, it's going to be kind of like that. That's what I've been told. I ain't saying that.
I believe it.
I ain't saying it. But that's what I've been told. So, hey, if my story, if I leave this world on a highlight of my story being used to make, cattle ranching obsolete and compassion normalized. Oh my God, how great that would be.
That's awesome. When you think about it, it's a testament to like every child being told that they couldn't do something and they went and did it anyway, sort of thing, in a nutshell. So it fully embodies self-determination. So that's beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Renee, I mean, we have to kind of wrap up. I could stay and talk to you for hours. The last day we talked to you on Zoom, me and Thomas were on a high from talking to you. You're just such an amazing human being.
Thank you.
You're magnetic. Your personality is unbelievable, and I want to thank you for coming on the show and giving up your time for us. But on a grander scheme of things, for everything that you've done in the world and for everything you've done for the animals, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Blown away by it. It's just incredible. What do you?
I just hope we get to visit the sanctuary someday and meditate with the cows. But echo everything that Cliff says. Thanks so much for chatting. You're a true soul.
Thank
you are
you.
who you say you are. We love your work. It's so good to see your sanctuary thriving and you constantly taking on bigger, better projects and everything. It's just graceful. I think that's the word right now. So thanks so much, Renee. Really, really appreciate it.
I'm just trying to get some of the comments in that I've missed. There's so many good comments coming up. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah.
I know. It just warms my heart to see everybody's comments. I thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart,
Yeah.
And I will be happy to share this on all our platforms. I'll put it on my website, and we'll be sure. And also, if you give it to me in a way that I can put it on our YouTube channel, I'll do that too.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. So it's live now, and then it remains on the Tribe Talk page. But I can also download it and get it to you some way as well. That would be fantastic. Renee, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and from Thomas as well, and from everybody watching.
Stay rowdy.
Keep it rowdy. Keep it rowdy. Keep it
rowdy. Love it.
Have a lovely day, Renee. Thank you very much. And for everybody watching, we will be back again next week. So, cool. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.